Today, my topic of presentation is Radicalism in Education, Concept and Meaning. The present lecture has been prepared by Dr. Shokeen, who is presently working as an assistant professor in the discipline of education at Government College of Education. Let me first start with concept of radicalism in education. The term radicalism is derived from the Latin word radix, meaning root. Radicalism in education refers to an approach that seeks to go to the roots of social and educational issues, proposing fundamental changes to established systems. It questions conventional teaching methods, curricula, and the purposes of education, advocating for education that is more relevant to real-life problems, democratic participation, and social justice. It advocating for a complete overhaul of the traditional education system. It is a belief in creating educational experiences that are not confined to the classroom but that engage with real-world issues. Radical educators argue that education should not be about mere rote learning or the passive absorption of information. Radical educators are often associated with progressive movements that view education as a powerful tool for achieving social and political reforms. These philosophies emphasize the following. First is critical pedagogy. Radical education promotes critical pedagogy, which is an approach to teaching that encourages students to critically analyze their surroundings and question dominant power structures. It is heavily influenced by the work of Brazilian educator Paulo Freire, who advocated for education to be an act of liberation rather than oppression. Critical pedagogy encourages students to critique societal norms, question traditional authority figures and institutions, engage in dialogue and reflection to understand the complexities of the world. 2 is social transformation. Radicalism views education as a means of achieving social transformation. It calls for an education system that not only imparts academic knowledge but also addresses issues like inequality, oppression, and exploitation. Education should empower learners to actively participate in shaping a more just and equitable society. Key proponents of radical education, such as Paulo Freire and Ivan Illich, emphasize the role of education in dismantling systems of oppression and promoting human freedom. They argue that traditional education often reinforces existing power dynamics, whereas radical education challenges these dynamics by promoting collective action and social change. 3. Democratic education. Radicalism advocates for democratic education, where the power dynamics in the classroom are rethought to create a more egalitarian and participatory environment. This involves teachers acting as facilitators rather than authoritative figures, students taking an active role in their own learning, contributing to discussions, decision-making, and the direction of their education. A focus on collaborative learning, where the experiences and insights of all participants are valued. Radical educators argue that democracy in education mirrors democracy in society, and by fostering democratic participation in the classroom, students learn the skills necessary to engage in civic life. 4. Human rights and social justice. Radical educators believe that education should promote awareness of societal problems and equip students with the tools they need to address these issues. This involves developing critical consciousness, which Freire termed conscientization, or the ability to perceive social, political, and economic contradictions and to take action against oppressive elements in society. Notable figures and movements in radical education. 1. Paulo Freire, one of the most influential radical thinkers in education. Freire's work in critical pedagogy is foundational. His book, Pedagogy of the Oppressed, emphasizes that education should be an act of liberation, encouraging oppressed people to develop critical consciousness and take action against their oppressors. 2. Ivan Illich, in his book Deschooling Society, Illich critiques the institutionalization of education, arguing that formal schooling perpetuates inequality. He advocates for informal, community based education where learning is more self directed and based on real life experiences. 3. A.S. Nail, founder of Summerhill School, Nail was an advocate for progressive and radical education. He believed that children should have the freedom to make their own choices about their education and that schooling should focus on happiness and self expression rather than conformity. 4. John Dewey, while not as radical as Freire or Illich, Dewey's philosophy of progressive education shares many principles with radical education. He believed in experiential learning, where students learn through doing, and emphasized the importance of education in promoting democracy and social justice. Thank you. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Education and Teacher Education, at Shokeen Bilal.